All rise. Bishop Bowden, would you lead us in a prayer, please?
Sure. Gracious Father, Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to serve this great community. We thank you for the year past, and Lord, as we look forward to the future, we ask for the anointing to be over us in this final meeting for the year. In Jesus' name, amen.
Join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Roll call.
Councilmember Dietz.
Here.
Councilmember Bolden.
Here.
Councilmember Blevins.
Here.
Councilmember Sansing.
Here.
Councilmember Ray. Councilmember Mashburn. Here. Councilmember Traylor.
Here.
Councilmember Twitty. Here. Councilmember Smith. Here. Councilmember Raines. Here. Mr. Mayor,
I'm here.
we have one absent.
Thank you. And he did call and tell me he is ill. So you have before you the presentation minutes of December 1st meeting, and I'd entertain the motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second on November 17th. I have a second?
Yes, that was
Thank
Raines.
you. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. All right. What, do I hear anything on the consent agenda?
So we accept the consent agenda as it stands.
You got a motion, second, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. All right, so now that brings us to Parks and Recreation, requisitions. Director House.
Tommy, you want to talk on this as well?
All right, and Tommy, would you state your name and who you're with when you sit down? Or stand up, or when you get to a microphone?
Tommy Bond, Bond Consulting Engineers, and we're the engineer for the shooting range shot curtain.
Thank you.
Tommy and I had discussed on this project, kind of splitting it up in two parts. This is the first part of the construction of the shooting or the shot curtain. It's the dirt work and drainage. We're asking to accept the low bid. We had 4 bidders, correct? Yeah, we had 4 bidders and asking to accept the low bid. The low bid has done work for Mr. Bond in the past, and he feels confident we'll be in good shape with him.
He did speak very confident in the bid opening.
And he's
Is there any
really nice,
questions
too,
you would
okay.
like to know about what's going on? Councilmember Traylor.
Yeah, just like on the fill material, is it just who's got availability to get fill material and where they're
Yes,
getting it
and
from?
we've come up maybe with an alternate to borrow it on site and reduce the cost slightly more.
Okay. 'Cause that's where he is significantly less than everybody else.
Yeah, it's only 1,600 yards, so it's not much. We're just trying to level it up so that when the curtain, we get it built, it'll be level across that. It's 1,600 feet long, so it's gonna be enormous, and it's 50 foot tall, so it's gonna be a big deal.
Yes. Any other? Okay, I entertain a motion approved to accept this bid for the shot curtain.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Thank you, Mr.
Yes, sir,
Bond.
we'll be back with a bid for the structure to hold it up. We're gonna take bids the 17th.
Yeah, that'll be in January when
Yeah.
y'all come back. But we're open on Monday, is that
No.
right?
No, that's a different project.
Oh, it's a different project,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, different project.
Okay,
But then we'll be back before you.
thank you, Mr. Bond.
Thank you.
Okay, now that brings us to ordinance 1716. I entertain a motion to put ordinance 1716 on first reading.
So moved.
Got a motion, second, roll call.
Councilmember Dietz.
Aye.
Councilmember Bolden.
Aye.
Blevins.
Aye.
Sansing.
Aye.
Mashburn. Traylor.
Aye.
Twitty.
Aye.
Smith. Raines.
Aye.
Ordinance number 1716, an ordinance waiving competitive bidding by the City of Jacksonville, Arkansas for the purpose of installing LED lighting for the City of Jacksonville Parks and Rec Department, declaring an emergency and for other purposes.
Okay. Director House, would you care to explain what we're doing and why?
Absolutely. This was one of the projects that we'd requested and got approved for funding off the ARPA funds. The numbers you guys received from that was actually just a phone quote I'd received from a lighting company. When I reached out to get, let's get moving on this, I need official quotes, it came back in about 700,000 instead of the 430,000 they had quoted. So I took a step back and I've met with several other contractors and we've come up with a plan that will work. This Taylor Electric is actually a local Jacksonville company. He has got access and they're still great quality 10-year warranty sports light fixtures that he can install at a much lower price and get it back to within budget that I'd asked for. His quote, I mean, as y'all see, I think you've got it in front of you, is $316,000, which does not include the lift. There'll be an additional $15,000 to $20,000 in lift rentals and just things that his quote's not covering, but it still falls under the $450,000 that was originally approved. I'm actually asking to waive competitive bidding because the lighting company's out of California. He's got to get POs put in to hold. They've got about 70, which is about half of what we need in stock. If he can hold them now, they'll be here within 4 to 6 weeks, and we'll be able to get started putting the lights up.
Okay, any questions?
I have a question.
Councilmember Twitty.
What fields are we putting these lights on?
Fields 5, 6, and 7.
Which are?
Softball fields to the left as you pull into the park. The fields,
The newest fields.
the newest field.
What about our baseball fields?
We've actually spent money. We got those lights in great shape right now. Hopefully, we will continue that. I've finally found a truck that we can reach those lights. We don't have to wait until it's dry, and that's the way we done them in the spring last year. There's 88 lights on that field, and we had all 88 burning
On the baseball
on
field?
the baseball field.
Okay,
Yes.
so all of the lights
All
are
the lights
working?
are working on field 1, the baseball field.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Any other, Councilmember Bowden?
Yeah, Taylor Electric is a very good company, very trustworthy here locally, and I know they'll do a good job, so I really in favor of them.
I do have a question though.
Yeah, Councilmember
What is
Trigger.
costly and non-productive about getting competitive bids? What's the cost and
That would be a
I
question
mean,
for
I know it's in
Stephanie.
everything
This
everything
may
that's
be
doing that, but
a
what,
Cheryl question. In order to advertise for competitive bidding, I know it takes a lot longer than waiving competitive bidding, obviously, but the cost is probably subjective, to be honest.
what all are they furnishing other than the lights?
But labor to put them up and wiring.
And so what is the cost of a light?
I don't have cost per light. I'm sorry.
So we're getting 150 for 300.
There's 152 there, and he did not break it down. There's 152 lights on those 3 fields. He didn't break it down from labor and materials in the quote. And I hadn't received one yet that was broken down, like just by labor and materials on all the quotes that I've received.
Wouldn't you look to see how much a 600-watt LED
I have
sport
not.
light would cost?
I have not.
I just think that would be something that we ought to know, what the cost of a light is.
The big plus, that's me.
Oh, Councilmember Bowden.
The big plus here is he wanted, was it $450,000 if I remember he came, and it's like 316.
Same thing.
And it's a local company, and it needs to be done.
Okay. Any further discussion?
I got one comment.
Yes.
We all understand supply chain issues holding up getting stuff done. That's why, most people know that I'm not in favor of waiving competitive bidding, but in recognition of the fact that we are having supply chain issues, sometimes we have to get while the getting is good and while we can get in here in a timely manner.
I have a comment, but if we've not checked other places, we don't know what they're,
I have checked other, I've actually I've got one quote here with me, which was Musco Sports Lighting. Theirs came in, theirs was the one that came in at 700. Curtis Stout, they give me a quote. I did not receive a paper copy. The guy called me and gave me the price, was emailing that to me. I'm sorry I didn't receive it before I got here. Theirs was at $540,000 for the same job that Taylor Electric is. So, I mean, we didn't go out to sealed and competitive bids and open sealed bids for this, but I did get other quotes.
and his was the cheapest?
His was by far the cheapest, yes, ma'am.
Sound like a couple $100,000 cheaper,
Right.
actually, okay, yeah. Okay, any other questions of Director House?
I have a
Councilmember Raines.
question. So in the quote, it has energy savings number broken down per hour. Do you have an estimate of how many hours annually that these lights will be used?
Not with me. I could get that. I've done that in the past for an energy audit that we had done, but I don't have that with me. During season, we use them 3 nights a week. They're on 2 to 3 hours a night. 3 nights per field, or 3 hours per field per night. Weekends, 2023, we've got 42 events scheduled, and they'll range from, who knows, some
Right.
some of them may not be used at all. Some of them may be used 5 or 6 hours on the weekends.
I would appreciate those
I
numbers.
can get that. Yeah.
Thank you.
How many lights do we have out, do you know?
Several, and the wiring's bad, and it's getting to the point where we can't hardly replace them, and it's going to come to a point, and that we're talking years down the road where those 1,500 watt metal halides are going to be a thing of the past. That's what we're replacing with LEDs.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions of Director House? Okay, I entertain a motion to approve on first reading and suspend the rules and place on second reading.
So moved.
Got a motion, second, any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Councilmember Deets.
Aye.
Bolden.
Aye.
Blevins.
Aye.
Sansing.
Aye.
Mashburn. Trailer.
No.
Twitty.
Aye.
Smith. Raines.
Aye.
Okay, I'm hearing the motion to approve on second reading, place on third and final reading.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion, second, all right, chance for discussion. Seeing none, roll call.
Councilmember Deets.
Aye.
Bolden.
Aye.
Blevins.
Aye.
Sansing.
Aye.
Mashburn. Trailer.
No.
Twitty.
Aye.
Smith. Raines.
Aye.
Okay, entertain a motion to approve and adopt 1716.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion, second, any discussion? All right, seeing none, roll call.
Councilmember Deets.
Aye.
Bolden.
Aye.
Blevins.
Aye.
Sansing.
Aye.
Mashburn. Trailer.
No.
Twitty.
Aye.
Smith. Raines.
Aye.
I'd entertain a motion about the emergency clause.
So moved. We accept the emergency clause.
Second.
Got a motion, second, any discussion? All right, roll call.
Councilmember Deets.
Aye.
Bolden.
Aye.
Blevins.
Aye.
Sansing.
Aye.
Mashburn. Trailer.
No.
Twitty.
Aye.
Smith. Raines.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right, that brings us to public hearing, and at 6:14, open the public hearing for anyone to make comments on the grass liens on which we're code enforcement is bringing forward. Anyone wish to speak for or against?
You just had somebody.
What?
You just had somebody come in.
Yeah, yeah. Does anybody here want to speak for or against the grass lien ordinance that we have before us? Okay, seeing none at 6:15, I close the public hearing. Okay, I'd enter a motion to place 1715 on first reading.
So moved.
Got a motion, a second, 17 on first reading, roll call.
Councilmember Deets.
Aye.
Bolden.
Aye.
Blevins.
Aye.
Sansing.
Aye.
Mashburn.
Aye.
Trailer.
Aye.
Twitty. Smith. Raines.
Aye.
Ordinance number 1715, an ordinance creating and certifying tax liens against real properties at various locations within the city for balances due from services rendered by and/or on behalf of the city of Jacksonville, Arkansas, and for other purposes.
Lieutenant Wright, would you please come and explain?
All these are just the remainder of the liens that we have for the year. The way our invoicing system fell, we were able to get the first set filed, and then the second set came in because of time constraints with the 60 days we have to give them. This is just the remainder of the liens we have to file for the year.
Okay, does anybody have any questions of Lieutenant Wright? Does this complete the mowing for the year?
Yes.
Of the liens we filed? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, Councilmember Twitty? You have- Oh, okay. All right. See, now I didn't entertain a motion.
I just have a,
Sure.
inject something. I mean, I don't know the answer, so I'm gonna
Councilmember Deeds, go
plead
ahead.
stupid. Okay. It seems like to me, a lot of these people on here, with a little effort, I don't know how we do it, but they could be found to pay these bills. Arkansas Federal Credit Union, I mean, come on, they're right there. Drive out there and get them to pay their bill. They pay their bills anytime I send them. There's a lot of people on here that are local, is what I'm saying. And I don't know what we're doing to try to collect them, but I'd like to collect them so we could have the money besides putting a lien on the property that we're never gonna get paid back for. So that's something we really need to work on next year. And I'm not saying anything against you, Lieutenant Wright, or anybody, because I don't know how the system works.
Yeah,
But anytime I see Arkansas Federal Credit Union, a lot of these people that own a lot of rental properties, I mean, we need to find a way to be able to contact them.
Well, we send them an invoice, and we send them certified mail, the lien letter saying you need to pay it, or else we'll put a lien on the property. I mean,
I know that, I'm saying
So-
that, but, you know, credit unions, some of these local ones, I mean, we should be able to collect them. I mean, we need the money to go back into our coffers instead of putting a lien on the property that we get whenever they sell it. Some of these people are
I'd
never
love-
gonna sell it.
I'd love to have it,
I
so.
would too, because we
Well,
got
I think
thousands of dollars.
that, and I don't know if this is a question that we could answer today, or it may take research, is state law, what does it allow us as far as collections? I don't know, you probably wouldn't know that off the top of your head, but I think it's something that maybe we could look at. What collection procedures are we allowed to do before we place these liens?
Right, well,
We're to send them a bill, send them invoice, but, yeah,
we're gonna come up with Stephanie, and we're gonna come up with a plan to find out that we can get these owners registered.
Yes.
A lot of these rental companies, so we know how to contact them with a certain period of time, so that they can pay their bills. Because we're not in the yard mowing business, and we're not in putting liens on properties that we're never gonna get paid for, who knows when. We need the money for our city.
right. It may be
not for
30,
them.
40 years for that
Yeah,
property sales.
it might be 20 years, so yes, that's just what I'm saying. I'm not against anybody, I'm just saying I think there's a way we should be able to do this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember. Anybody else have any questions on this before we hear comments? All right. Then I entertain a motion to approve on first reading, place on second, suspend the rules, put on second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Councilmember Deets.
Aye.
Bolden.
Aye.
Blevins.
Aye.
Sansing.
Aye.
Mashburn. Trailer.
Aye.
Twitty. Smith. Raines.
Aye.
Okay, and then a motion to approve on second reading, place on third and final reading.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Councilmember Deets.
Aye.
Bolden.
Aye.
Blevins.
Aye.
Sansing.
Aye.
Mashburn. Trailer.
Aye.
Twitty. Smith. Raines.
Aye.
Okay, I need a motion to approve and adopt 1715.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second, roll call.
Councilmember Deets.
Aye.
Bolden.
Aye.
Blevins.
Aye.
Sansing.
Aye.
Mashburn. Trailer.
Aye.
Twitty. Smith. Raines.
Aye.
Thank you, council. Okay, so now that brings us to the second reading of ordinance 1714, our budget amendment. So I entertain a motion to approve ordinance 1714 on its second reading.
Second.
Got a motion, a second. I guess we need to read it again. Oh, we need roll call first. Roll call, sorry.
Councilmember Deets.
Aye.
Bolden.
Aye.
Blevins.
Aye.
Sansing.
Aye.
Mashburn. Trailer.
Aye.
Twitty. Smith. Raines.
Aye.
Ordinance number 1714, an ordinance adopting a fiscal budget for 2023, making appropriations and authorizing expenditures for operation of various departments of city government for the purchase of materials, supplies, equipment, and services covering general fund operations, street fund, emergency medical services fund, shooting range fund, and sanitation fund, declaring an emergency and for other purposes.
Okay, any questions, discussion on the budget? Councilmember Blevins.
Can I get Cheryl come to the... So I looked at this, I went through it completely over again just to make sure I have my questions and everything correct. I don't know if you guys can hear me okay. So we're going from what we had $23 million last year to $25 million, which is a pretty significant jump.
Correct.
Now, there's a couple of things. Primarily, the first thing is in your estimate of what we end up spending this year, we're almost at $29 million that we're spending this year. And that's with us not being fully staffed. That's with us not buying the things that we had already budgeted to spend. Where is that excess $7 million coming from?
The majority of that is going to be, some of it is from the increase in our sales tax revenue, but some of it is also the ARP funds that you had already agreed to allocate to projects. And some of those projects aren't going to be able to be completed in 2022, and the projects that have been allocated or have been approved have been put into the 2023 budget for those items.
Okay, and just based on numbers, like we had $5.444 million. We spent money for premium pay, which dropped it down to $5.190 million. And that is the money that we allocated out. So in total, the 5.190 plus we didn't pass the $300,000 for the splash pad. That drops it, basically drops it down a little bit to how much money that there is. So there should be like roughly about $300,180 left over that we did not approve. But keeping that $5.190 million number in mind, there's a $6 million difference. So in $6 million, like that eats up the whole amount of ARPA money, which we're only using some of it this year. So I'm trying to figure out where the other money that was not from there is being paid out of. There was this big, huge misinformation that was given to everybody about how basically the coffers, the reserves were at $9 million, whereas that included this ARPA money. So once we spend it, we really only have like $3-point-something million in the coffers. Is that correct?
I'm not sure exactly where you're getting those figures.
I'm just trying to figure out.
You asked the auditor that question. You ask him directly, does the $9 million reserves include the ARPA funds? And he said no. You asked the auditor that question the day he was presenting the audit.
That is correct. And then I asked Cheryl, and she said it did.
Well, part of it included part of it because we had received half of the money in 2021 and half of the money in 2022. So it includes half of the money.
Okay. So again, I'm just trying to figure out where that excess money is coming from, how much money we have in the reserves, how much actual money we have in the reserves to cover this, because like we're going to end up having to pull from that. Like we already had to pull from the reserves for the sanitation. I'm just trying to find out where the money is going to come from. And with you saying that we're going to spend $25 million If we had registered $23 million last year, including some of the ARPA funds, and then we're at 25 this year, does that mean our actual at the end of next year is going to be somewhere around 31 million?
No, next year it should be back somewhere in between the 22 and the 25 million. And every year, the budget, it fluctuates because there are some years where we need more equipment than other years. And so it's a moving target.
But there was a lot of it that we didn't buy, is what I'm saying.
Figures, about the 3 million.
Okay,
That's on,
so,
because I have a breakdown of
yeah, it's
the
like
estimate.
23 million, so it's actually like $2.3 million.
Because in the budget, I have my estimated revenues projected for the end of this year. And I also have the projected revenues that we're going to be receiving in 2023. And so I'm not understanding where you're saying this increase, where you're, because it's in the budget document.
Yeah.
By line item, what I'm expecting
Yes,
the
ma'am.
revenues to come from.
Again, I saw that the proposed amount of money that we were going to be spending was 28, almost $29 million that we're actually spending, and we didn't buy these other things that we had budgeted already to do. So I'm trying to find out next year if the budget is going to be at 31 million at the end of it, because we already have it set in here for 25 million for us to spend this next year.
We won't know that until the end of next year.
Okay.
It's a working document. It's not set in stone. And so there's going to be adjustments because there's going to be things that pop up that we're not expecting that has to be taken care of. And so there's some things that we've budgeted for that we're not going to be able to accomplish because we had to do something else that took higher priority over. So it's a working document. It's not something that, okay, we budgeted for this item, we have to buy this item because it's in the budget. It's this is the amount of money we have allotted for this department, and if you cannot spend over that amount of money for that department.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Any other question? Councilmember Raines.
So in the revenues that you have listed, I'm just wondering, with the intergovernmental grant income, is that ARPA funds or is that other grants given to the city?
Are you talking about the general fund, or are you talking about other funds?
This is under general revenues.
Under general revenues?
Yep. The second page. It said that our original budget for grant income was $38,000. Our actual is a little over $3 million.
Mm-hmm. And that is ARP money.
Okay.
That is that.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, I entertain a motion to approve on second reading, suspend the rules and put on third and final reading.
So moved.
Got a motion, second. Roll call.
Councilmember Deets.
Aye.
Bolden.
Aye.
Blevins.
Aye.
Sansing.
Aye.
Mashburn. Trailer.
Aye.
Twitty. Smith. Raines.
Aye.
I entertain a motion to approve and adopt ordinance 1714. Got a motion, second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Councilmember Deets.
Aye.
Bolden.
Aye.
Blevins.
Aye.
Sansing.
Aye.
Mashburn. Trailer.
Aye.
Twitty. Smith. Raines.
Aye.
Okay, I entertain a motion on the emergency clause.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion, second. Roll call.
Councilmember Deets.
Aye.
Bolden.
Aye.
Blevins.
Aye.
Sansing.
Aye.
Mashburn. Trailer.
Aye.
Twitty. Smith. Raines.
Aye.
Good. Thank you, council. All right, that brings us to Mr. Jim Moore. you come forward and tell us what you'd like to address the council about, and state who you're representing. I know you're not representing the planning board, but state your name and who you're representing.
Not tonight. I'm Jim Moore, in case you don't know me.
Well, look, Susan's not here, so, all right.
Oh, Susan's not here. Yeah, that's right.
That's not Susan. That's Emmy, her deputy clerk. She's doing a great job so far.
Yes, she is.
And who do you represent?
And she does a good job when I call and ask for
Yes,
something,
she
too.
does. She's doing a great job.
I represent Stonewall Homeowner Association. I'm president of that 497 home subdivision here in Jacksonville. On December the 12th, around 11:12 a.m., I received a call from one of our homeowners there in Stonewall about a dog attack. This is during the daytime. The attack was against an elderly lady who was walking her little dog down the sidewalk by the it's now First Church of Christ or First Christian Church, whichever one. That church, just you go in on East Martin on the left there. She was walking her dog, and then while she was doing that on the sidewalk, a black lab attacked her dog and pulled her down. And I don't know how much it hurt her because I wasn't there, but my homeowner, who was coming home from work, he worked all night, lives right nearby there, and he stopped by to see if he could help her. Another lady pulled up in a red car, put her and her dog in her car, and took her home. But the dog, after the attack, took off. The homeowner revealed to me that there was not a leash holding that dog, the lab. There was no collar on the dog. It was just running loose there. And that's right behind the apartments where there are a lot of children. A lot of kids play out there around that area. And plus, right down the street, of course, is our dance studio for the young people, and some of them walk down there from the homes. So I called the animal shelter right after I was notified by the homeowner. I was on my way downtown, and so I had to turn around and rush back. I called the animal shelter approximately 11:21 a.m. and I know that because the time stays on my phone. And I was told after the homeowner told me what happened, I called them, and I don't know who the person was that answered the phone because all the dogs were barking in the background, so it's kind of hard to hear. I requested that they send someone out there to pick this black lab up. It was running loose, to come pick it up before it attacks somebody else or another small dog, somebody walking their dogs. And we do have a lot of people who walk their dogs there, especially from the senior center down at the end of East Martin. They walk their dogs all throughout Stonewall during the day. So when the person answered, she asked me if I had seen the incident. And I told her no, that a Stonewall homeowner, and most of the Stonewall homeowners have my phone number, so they know if there's something going on, they call me. And I told her that the Stonewall homeowner had called me and informed me about the attack because he was right there nearby. Here's what I was told, and I don't like what I was told. I was told unless I saw the incident happen, they could not send anyone out to look for that black lab and try to catch it and bring it down to the animal shelter. Now, I don't like that kind of attitude when it's a responsibility of the animal shelter to track down these loose dogs and prevent them from attacking someone else. Now, this wasn't a pity. This was a lab. People are going to say, well, a lab retriever, normally they're traditionally not dangerous jobs. They're known for their gentleness, their energy, their friendliness. However, all dogs are different. And if they aren't properly socialized and trained, a Labrador retriever may become aggressive and considered dangerous. So because the homeowner works nights, he cannot be here tonight, or he would be here to testify about this situation. And as president of the Stonewall Homeowners Association, my call should not have been ignored in my justification. When an incident such as this, a dog, a Labrador, attacks her dog, this elderly lady's dog, and so now it's forgotten by the animal shelter. They can't come out because I didn't see it. Is the shelter going to do this to anyone else that actually sees an incident?
Excuse
Are they
me,
going to
Jim.
delay?
We have the director here. Can we hear from her? Jamie.
Supervisor of Animal Control, or the director, Chief Hibbs.
Yeah, I was gonna, so I don't know what we're trying to achieve here. I'm not gonna handle a personnel or discipline issue publicly. I should have been notified about this, not in front of the entire council and the congregation out here. It's not the proper way, and I don't think it's the right venue. There's a fact finding. I need to know what was said. I need to know what they were doing, what they said to him. There's a whole bunch of things. I'm not gonna go in a back and forth in front of everybody right here. It's not the proper way to do it.
It is a personnel matter, that's true. And he's asking personnel be addressed to that, and I guess he's wanting you to tell him that you're going to look into the matter.
They do, as far as I know, come out when they're called. I'm gonna have Jamie explain a few things that, from their end, because, I handle, being, the chief of police, I handle complaints daily from people. 98% are not true. And that's why we wear body cameras, to prove that we're not lying all the time, and everybody else is, every single day. But there's fact finding, and I know how to do this. I just wasn't notified of this incident. And I apologize, I'm a little under the weather tonight.
Can I say something?
Councilmember Bo.
My experience with animal shelter, when we call them, that they come out, turn right there in that corner, try to find a dog. We had a dog, my wife and I, we saw a dog out there, it was loose, running like crazy. And they came out. I don't know about this incident, but I do know that they came out. But they did tell me it would be a little while till somebody gets there. Meanwhile, we kept our eye on the dog. And so just to let you know.
Well, they handle many calls.
Everybody can't respond immediately.
Maybe not immediately. I do expect them to go out when they're called. I don't want dogs running the city. If it says it calls about a dog running wild, I expect them to go get it. And we're going to get in discussion in a minute, I think, about how full they are and all that. They pick up a dog, we got to get rid of one. And so that's what I want to talk about next. But I don't understand if y'all going to vote on this or what you're going to do. I don't know why we're here about this today.
I say we ban Labradors because they're so vicious.
How about we let Jamie say whatever happened on her end?
Yeah, you recognize, please state your name, Jamie.
Jamie Parker, Supervisor of Animal Control. So this particular incident that Mr. Moore is talking about, he called the shelters. As everybody knows, we are short-staffed. I have 2 officers, only 2, to share, and both of them are brand new. The one I've been here the longest has been here, I think, about 4 months. And the other one has only been here maybe a month, a little over. So they're still in training. No excuse, I understand that, but these are facts, okay? So when we get a call for a dog bite, we get all the information that we can and we go. The lady that apparently got bit, attacked, whatever, never called animal control. The only call that we got about it was from Mr. Moore. No description, no name of the lady that got attacked where we could go make contact with her. We don't have the resources or the manpower to go driving around every neighborhood to try to find a dog that nobody has eyes on. They have no direction which way it went, nothing like that. Probably about 30 minutes after that, we got a call for a black lab that was running across over towards Kroger area. It was a black lab. My officer went out and picked up it. Whether it's the same black lab or not, I don't know. But the particular incident you're talking about, we never received a phone call from the victim, anything like that. The only call we got was from you. and you could not give us any kind of information except for it's a black lab running loose in my neighborhood. I don't have the resources to go driving through every single neighborhood looking for a random dog. I'm not sure what else you want me to explain.
Did you give an address, a street or anything where they could go?
No, Stonewall.
Yeah,
That's
you
all
mean
I'm saying.
where the animal people could go? Yeah, I told them where the church was.
Oh, all right.
They know where it is. That church is well known. It's been there for many years.
Okay,
I wasn't aware. All I can tell you is we'll try to do better on that.
Okay, and I think Mr. Moore, if you'd like to talk to Chief Hibbs and kind of.
Yeah, I'll be.
And he'd be happy to work with you and trying to work this out in the future of how to handle this process. And if something was done wrong, then he would look into the issue as a personnel matter.
I would ask that if you ever call my shelter again, please be polite to my officers and not get mad and hang up and threaten to call Chief Hibbs.
I did not hang up in their ear.
Okay, we're not going to argue here, okay.
Don't start that with me.
We don't need to.
Okay. I think, is there, counsel, do you have any questions, Mr. Moore, or of animal control?
Just talk with Brett.
Huh?
Talk with Brett after, make an appointment with him to talk to Brett.
He'll take care of it.
Okay, thank
Okay.
y'all. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Moore. All right, I think that brings us to Jay McCarty wants to discuss something about the animal shelter. State your name, who you represent, and all that.
Hi, I'm Jay McCarty, and I represent Jay McCarty.
Okay.
All right, first I got a question. I've been trying to figure a way to help the animal shelter and come up with some ideas. And first I was told by 3 people, and some are here now, that you guys have $125,000 to $127,000 set back somewhere for the animal shelter. That's not true, correct?
There is some improvements in the budget.
6,000.
For maintenance people to do, and we're building, but it wouldn't be in the animal control budget, and it wouldn't include the cost of labor. It
Right.
would just be materials as we
Okay.
estimated for improvements to one of the buildings.
Okay, I got a list I'd like to run down, take 2 seconds. About the $5,444,517, where it was allocated out to. I got employee bonus, or whatever you call it, $254,000, $1.6 million for a fire station, five police cars, allotted $345,000. They wound up costing $444,852. Cameras, $105,000. Wastewater, $500,000. Water line, $200,000. Widening 167 water line, $500,000. A new IT server, $50,000, which came to $61,000. The lights in the ballpark, they just come down to $316,000. Skateboard park, $90,000. A pump track on the skateboard park, $350,000. Relocate the program, or the equipment on the other part, $500,000. And the new pavilion cover in the dugout, $200,000. And then premium pay on the wastewater was $29,102. Okay, that left before they come under budget on the lighting. That left $235,000 on the table, if I'm anywhere close to correct. Okay, my point is, the budget on the animal shelter is just roughly gas for the year for 2 vehicles, $500,000. There's no way that can be done.
Their budget covers their operating expenses and salary, not capital improvements.
Right, but what I'm saying is their budget is $40,000 under what operating cost is on there. It seems like the city's counting on this Jacksonville Friends of Animals to pick up the slack instead of fully funding this animal shelter.
Cheryl, would you care to address that we don't have revenues, we don't count revenues from Friends of the Shelter in the budget.
Anything that the Friends of the Animals, excuse me, in the past, what has happened is people donate to the Friends of the Animals, and then the Friends of the Animals will pay the vet bills directly. So the money never comes through our books. So we never show the revenue coming in from the Friends of the Animals, and we're not showing the expenditures going out to the vet bills. And
Okay.
so
Well,
that's.
what I'm trying to say is just like, the canine expense on here is 7,000, looks like, 145 and for the year, correct? Anyway, just in 1 month, they paid over $15,000 for vet bills. And
Who paid?
the Jacksonville Friends of the Animals.
Okay, and that's up to
Okay.
them. That is their
Right,
choice.
but what I'm saying, if they wasn't the entity and didn't have the donations, what would happen then?
Then we would probably euthanize
Mhm.
animals.
And we would ask for more donations to come straight to our animal shelter and not to Friends of the Animals.
Okay,
I mean, they do a tremendous good job of raising funds and helping the.
yes, they do, yes, they do, and I take my hat off to the workers. I've been over there, and what we're trying to do is come up with some kind of plan to demolish the old building standing with the roof caved in and build a brand-new kennel for them. And I've been looking at Ward, and I've been looking at Cabot, and I've been looking at these kennels. And I've got enough businessmen together that we came up with a price to tear that down, excavate a pad with heated floors, indoor-outdoor kennels for the price of $166,000. And that's with us trying to get a lot of donations through the concrete companies and stuff like that. My proposal to you guys, if you can set back $100,000 for the project, me and the businessmen will come up with the $66,000 to build the facility.
Okay, it would have to go through a process of going through the city attorney and through the proper procedure, come for the council for them to vote on that. It can't be just brought up tonight and done.
Why does it have to go through attorney?
Well, because that's who writes all of our ordinance and resolutions.
So you can't put up a building.
Okay, now, you can put together a proposal, get somebody turned in, get a council member or mayor or more to sponsor it through the city attorney writing it. Yes, it can be done, but there's a process that a city government has to go through to do something like that. It can't just be, okay, we're gonna build that building, that's good. No, we have to have hard, fast numbers and the proper, to follow the law of the state of Arkansas.
Okay, let me ask this then while I'm here. If we come up with this process, would you guys be willing to back the $100,000 to put the building up?
Okay, I don't think that's their decision tonight. I think you can talk to council members, one of them possibly sponsor it, or when Mayor-elect Elmore takes office, you could have a visit with him, see if he's willing to sponsor it.
Okay, that sounds great to me. Thank you.
Okay.
I had a couple things.
I want to say that I would be down if I still had a vote at that time. I would be down with using some of that ARPA money that we didn't use to do that. I just want to say that I'm not going to be here, but I just want to say it.
I had, Jamie gave me some ideas. When we had a deadline for turning in our ideas for the ARP money, and at that time, she didn't have anything she wanted to add, neither did I. Afterwards, she came up with a couple of things. The old shooting ranges behind the animal shelter, I've had all the lead cleaned out and decontaminated. She wants to make that another dog park, walking area with a fence. And she wanted to tear that building down and add on to the old animal shelter. And I told her that I would have to wait until, because we have a year to spend this ARP money, but everything that we're doing, all the construction is higher than anticipated. So if we have $300,000 right now, after all my projects, Kevin's projects, fire station, it could go down. We don't know what we're going to be stuck with. But I told her, whatever's left, I will ask for to make those renovations. She did have some some minor things she wanted done, which maintenance is already working on.
Okay, City Attorney,
So
please.
to answer your question, why it has to come through me, there's actually a state law. Any amounts or anything that's bought or purchased by the city over $35,000 has to be approved by council. So that's why it would have to come to me first so I can write the ordinance, and then to council so they can approve that. To answer your previous question.
I think it's a great idea. It sounds like something that we need to look into, and I would be happy to work on it with you. If you need me to sponsor it or go with you, because anytime we can do something to improve the city and we got other money that's matching it, something that we need to really look into. And, you know, the best feature we could do would be to adopt about 100 of them pups or pets and cats and get rid of them so somebody would make them home. But I'm telling you, it's probably not going to happen, but I'd be for it. So you've got my name and number, I know.
I was going to come back to this, but before I leave, you know, every shelter everywhere is full all the time. They're having to euthanize more than they did pre-COVID 2020. All those COVID dogs people adopted when they were staying at home are now getting let loose, turned back in, and all kinds of stuff. People can't take care of them. So every shelter is having this problem. And there's only 3 ways we can get rid of them. And I've talked to Jamie about this, but if we can't adopt them out, we need to find a rescue. I think a lot of the rescues are full right now because there's so many dogs getting turned loose. And the only other way is euthanasia, which we try to avoid. But I think we're going to have to do more than we would like to. Because when they have a lab attack another dog, we have to go get it. There's no way around it. And if we're full, that means another dog's got to go. So hopefully we can, I don't know, she's been trying to work with rescues, but it doesn't seem to be paying off very well. But that's really our only option.
Okay, thank you, Chief Hibbs. Okay, that moves us to Hubert Alexander, wish to come and speak to. You don't look like Hubert.
I hope not.
Please
My
state your
name's
name
Danny
and who you
Martindale.
represent and all that.
My name's Danny Martindale. I guess I represent a lot of the people that got annexed.
Okay.
I kind of got thrown into this,
right,
like earlier today. So now I have been dealing with this probably. I really can't remember. I want to say the first time we started talking about this was probably 2007, 2008. I'm guessing somewhere in that area.
Okay.
Jimmy Durham sat down with me, and they were having a problem getting it annexed. And so he sat down and started talking to me about the things that they could do to make our property and everything else more valuable and make the city better. So one of the first things was gas, because there's no gas out there. The other thing, everybody runs on propane. Sewage, no sewage. No cable. Apparently now they've run fiber optic. And they were going to do one way on one side, one way on the other side, and do a turnaround somewhere in the general area of Coattail Crossing. That's kind of what was explained to me and told to me. I actually somewhere, but I have not had a chance to find it because I kind of got thrown into this today. I had a proposal about all this, and I've got to try to find it. But in a nutshell, what everybody's wanting to know, why are we not getting sewer after 10, 15 years? Gas, the things that should happen. You know, general infrastructure needs big time in Jacksonville. It's horrible. You just drive through and you can see it. You know, you go from Cabot. There's a lot of things that need to be changed, and a lot of people are concerned. And I think more than anything, is people just want to know what is going to happen with this more than anything.
Okay. And that area was annexed in 2011.
Yes.
and I've read the documents, there's nothing in it that mentions that. But the letters that I've read retaining it, it talks about water and police protection and that, which have all happened. And so, I don't know, is Thea here if she wants to address, we've addressed this through committee meetings. I think, yeah, I know Jay was part of it, you was part of it. I don't know if you were at those committee meetings where the sewer, you know, the cost of taking it out there is astronomical. So, I don't think there's a plan right now to take sewer out there. I don't know about natural gas, if it, because that's up to Summit when they're willing to do that. And of course, it's based on users and that sort of thing. So I don't have any idea what Summit is thinking of doing. So I don't know what answers we have that weren't answered, especially in sewer, in the committee meeting that Reedy Ray headed up and Councilmember Blevins, who brought that up and started that committee. Yeah.
I've asked
and we were
him,
looked at it
like 100 times, and he's like, I'm just waiting on bond engineering to call him back.
Okay, so I don't know what answer you're looking for.
Well, I think everybody's was under the assumption that they were going to get sewer and gas years ago, and it's not happened. And what I understood was it going to be about 5 to 6 years for it to take, because I said something about the plant was at, I want to say back then they were saying somewhere in the neighborhood of $25 to $28 million to build the, I guess, the treatment plant, something to that. I don't know.
I saw the estimate that was done, the study, and it was about $7.8 million to run sewer out there at that time, which was probably done in 2012 or 13.
Okay.
So, but anyway, so we could never promise you electricity, we could never promise you telephone, we could never promise you cable, and we could never promise you natural gas. The city is not in that business. Part of the city, the sewer department is under the purview of the city as the water department. So you do have water and you have the fire protection that was promised. So Jim Durham, you're here. Would you like to speak to this on what transpired and what was promised and said at that time?
Can I stand here?
That's fine. Just state your name.
Jim Durham.
And your position you had with the city when you worked.
Former Director of Administration for the City of Jacksonville for about 8.5 years under Mayor Fletcher. Mayor Fletcher tasked me with the job of trying to get a voluntary annexation after we lost the vote out there when we went to the people, which included the homeowners in that area. And a lot of the business owners don't even live in Jacksonville, and they had already told me they really would like to come into the city because it was taking the county 15 minutes to get out there when they had to call the police. The EMS took them quite a bit of time out there, and they wanted a Class 2 fire rating, which Jacksonville had. So I kind of put together a program, and I spent, Mayor Fletcher might remember, probably 3 months. 3 months, you know, half a day is out of the office, and went out and personally spoke to as many as I could. The benchmark was I had to get 51% that owned over 51% of the land out there to sign in. And the people, the balance of those people, as long as it was contiguous in the, where Jay had drawn it out, they just got brought in. I mean, it was just, they were forced in. But some of them I couldn't get hold of. I mean, I traveled to Hot Springs, Carlisle. There was people that owned property out there, and we made some, you know, some concessions to people, like the sexual-oriented business out there. We promised them that they would be zoned the M2 that was required. A fellow, I can't remember his name now. He sold fireworks out there, and I remember Bobby had to write an ordinance and the council passed it, you know, to be able, but he's grandfathered in. If he sells it, that goes away. But the rest of the places, they pretty much chose what the designation they wanted to a point, but basically most of it was highway commercial. So I personally had discussions with people that signed the petition and retrieved the petitions and gave it to the city attorney at that time. I never promised anyone sewer. I had a discussion with Hubert Alexander, and he specifically asked me, when are they going to put sewer out there? I said, possibly never. If sewer comes out there, it will be a developer that develops, whether it's apartments or large commercial tract, that needs sewer, and he'll have to run that line down just north of the MacArthur Church. However, if someone does that, anyone that's there that signed in will be able to tie onto the sewer at no charge. Water, and I think Danny's memory, I don't think remembers exactly what my conversation was with him, because when he explained it, it reminded me that we were talking about water, not sewer, because I never said anything about sewer. I didn't have the authority to even talk about sewer. I did talk about water, and I said water will come because if it's not put in, and the fire chief I saw left a while ago, got about 5 to 7 years. If the water department had not run water out there, not for the people's potable water, but for fire hydrants, for fire protection, then the city would have had in that area would have had the city has a 2, it'd been a 2/7 or something like that. So we really didn't have any choice on that, and the water department worked with us on there. But I never promised anybody sewer. Jay and the mayor picked up 2 or 3 people out there, and I was the one that got all the rest of the people. But to my knowledge, nope, they were never promised sewer. And I explained that to Hubert. I said, it's not going to happen unless there's a developer runs the main lines. And then, you know, your property, you can tie onto it for your sewer. And they all have working septic tanks. So, you know, and there's other places in town, I'm sure, that have septic tanks too, you know, that area that in the triangle going out toward Wooten Road. So, yeah, well, the president's subdivision out there, I guess, also never had sewer. So it's not like it's a guaranteed thing. And I think, other than that, I think Thea can probably explain better, because I had a lot of discussions with her, Mayor Fletcher, and I did, and Jay Whisker. So, I mean, I don't see it happening. I mean, there's just no way the city could afford that. I mean, that's my personal opinion. You know, at the time, that was my opinion too.
Well, I got a question. You said something about water. We already had water, man. We had
some people had water and some people didn't. Like on one side, water only went up. In fact, they were tied onto Pastor Gillum's water line, and he was paying the bill and they were paying him back, and it went up. That's as far as it went on that side. And then the other side, where Hardrider's at, it went up there, but it wasn't. There was a few fire hydrants, but they weren't to what they had to be for the Class 2 fire rating. So my understanding is, and what I've seen over the years is that they did complete the fire protection so that is a Class 2 fire rating, which is substantial. For those of you who don't know, commercial, that's a big number. And so that was probably one of the primary reasons that a lot of people signed in, but they were never promised sewer.
And even if you had water, you were paying time and a half?
That's correct.
And it went to 1. You paid regular rates.
So they lowered their, people like Hardrider and the others out there that had water, it went down substantially. You know, including the concrete plant on one side, which was another industrial or manufacturing designation out there.
Does that answer your questions, Mr. Martindale?
Not really, but
well, I mean,
you know, I'm going to leave it like that. Everybody's asking questions, and
I can explain what you're talking about, the one-way streets, and that was something that RDOT had brought to me when I was state rep, and actually I think probably Mayor Fletcher saw it and all that one day they have plans to put, and those RDOT plans or whatever, whenever RDOT gets around to it, that's when it happens, but it'll be one way all the way to Highway 5 one day is their plans with 2 Texas turnaround and a full crossover at Cofield. That is their plans, but it doesn't mean they're gonna do it. They planned 440, they never built it, so
Right.
that's up to them. So,
So in a nutshell, you're saying that pretty much there's no sewer gonna happen out there anytime future
anytime
at all?
soon, and maybe not in your, my
Ever.
lifetime, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe not.
All right.
Yes, sir, do you have could you come and address, do we need to know your name and who you're with and whatever?
Just with me. I'm Robert Waters, and I've got property out there.
Okay.
And my question is real simple. Is there a way to de-annex?
No.
I heard that the city council could approve de-annexation if you was in the floodplain and you joined outside the city limits.
Well, we stopped, I think, that property that you're on, I don't remember, did the Kofelt family have that when you got it? Because I know that, I know that we, and Jay drew the lines. I know that from your property back, what's the little subdivision there that's?
Andrews, Craven, or whatever.
Yeah, you know, it's been there for a long time. They weren't brought in, as I remember. And he didn't bring anything in there that was in the floodplain, is what
Well,
he told me.
brought me in. There's
That
40
was-
acres of floodplain there they brought in. That's why I wanted to move back out.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I
understanding-
guess anybody can do anything except that there's a lot of hurdles, because it wasn't just.
Yeah, you don't just de-annex.
Right.
It's just not, you gotta get county judge approval.
Yeah, the county judge and the quorum court and all that.
Approval, you gotta have maps and all of these things. It's not, if the county judge isn't willing to want you back, you're not getting de-annexed.
So, okay, I need to do some research on this probably, because it was my understanding, and I got it from Tommy, and he said that they had passed a law here a while back that the city council could de-annex any property that was in the floodplain. I don't, that's what I'm saying, I probably had to do some
That
research,
would
I don't
be
know how,
something-
but.
If you have a question, maybe sometime you can meet with our city attorney or send her an email and ask her a question.
Well, generally, though, you are correct. The county, it would have to go back to county, and quorum court would have to approve that. County
Right.
judge would approve that.
And
Same
then
thing
it come
with,
before the council to approve it, what
Right.
the judge does, so, yeah. So, yeah, there's a process that, to go through to de-annex it, but, you might talk to the county attorney, Adam Fogelman, and he could help you with that process.
Okay, yeah, I'll do some more research. I just thought Mr. Durham would know.
Not an attorney, not an engineer.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I remember when Jimmy Durham was sitting out there when we was talking about the annexing, and the question came up about sewer. And I do remember him stating to the council at that time that it would probably take a big subdivision. When a subdivision went to develop it, the developer of the subdivision would put sewer in out there, and that's when they would have it. And he didn't know when they would decide to do that. But I remember hearing him tell the council that at that time, that it would take a developer developing the property to put in the wastewater. I do remember hearing that.
Just like Base Meadows, they had to form a sewer improvement district, but in Base Meadows, to get that line ran for the sewer improvement, which is now Notting Hill, is benefiting from that as well. Okay. Mayor Fletcher.
I'm really getting to this in a roundabout way.
Let me explain something. Jim was right. Shortly after we were defeated in trying to annex North Pulaski, and the reason I wanted to do that is in 2009, when I ran for mayor, I never will forget this. Somebody on Facebook in another state was being her husband's being transferred to this area, and so I don't know about Jacksonville, BB, and Cabot. We're looking to relocate. I'll never forget what somebody, I don't know who it was, responded, but they said something that always stuck with me before when I was going in office. They said, well, if you're, Jacksonville has beer joints and strip clubs, and Cabot has schools and churches. And that hearing somebody that I don't know, that's their perspective of our city and comparing to other cities, that bothered me.
And the reason a lot of that stuff is down on the freeway, quite honestly, is because it's a no man's land. There's no control over anything, but it's still perceived as Jacksonville. And Jacksonville needs to grow. We just shortly, before I came in office, we lost the annexation of Gravel Ridge. And for this city to grow, we got to have dirt, we got to have land. You go east, we got the county line. You go south, we got the bean field out there, which obviously is not suitable for development, at least for maybe commercial. They built it up quite a bit, but that's an awful lot of work. But residential wise, the only place we really couldn't go west because of Gravel Ridge. Sherwood, God's landlocked. The only place we can go was north. So that was the whole thing. And I got my tail end whooped over that, but I knew we had to secure that commercial zone, and it was the worst economic time, and we could use the revenue. We were trying to build a police department as well, and we needed control. And so Jim came to me right after that, and he said, Mayor, if you can give me some time, he said, I can go out there one-on-one and talk to these people, because you know how social media is. A lot of people say stuff and they believe it. And that's the reason we lost that North Pulaski annexation. So Jim did that. And several times people bring up sewer, because obviously everybody wants sewer. There's no question about that. We couldn't do it. I think you said 7 point something. I think I was talking earlier, close to 6 million, whatever. But the only way we could do sewer, first place, city's not in the development business. The quickest way to get ourselves in trouble is to go develop property for somebody else. And that's the reason that the Base Meadows had to do their own improvement district. And so for us to even pass a bond issue to finance $7 million for sewer, we'd have to tremendously raise the rates for every citizen in this town. You think the people of Jacksonville, would you have voted as a council member to raise the people's sewer bills dramatically to put sewer down a freeway for a few pieces of property? You know, so I knew that couldn't happen. And you know, I've heard over the last 10 years, I guess, that we promised sewer. We did not promise sewer. And I know a fact, there's at least 3 letters that many times Jim come to me and said, Mayor, they want it in writing, because unless you get it in writing from you, well, they won't buy in. And so we've got 3 letters, and there's probably more, but at least 3 I know of. Sewer's not even mentioned. If sewer was mentioned, it would have been the #1 issue. Okay, so let's just put this dog or puppy to rest, or whatever you want to call it. There is no sewer promise, period, because it's not economically feasible, and the city couldn't afford to do it. And I'm just sorry. I wish we could have done it. I wish we could have offered it and improve all of Jacksonville. But there's other areas, and to pass a bond issue, put sewer there, when Bill probably can tell you, we got lines that need to be new slip lines and sewer other places. That'd been derelict on our duties to ignore our own people to offer somebody else something.
And historically, developers have always been the ones. As I developed a subdivision in 1984, I had to put all the sewer lines in and go and take it to the main. And so, you know, and if there hadn't been a main, I couldn't have got approval for the houses out there unless I took it to the main, whatever direction I had to go. And it's just and what's also a problem out there is that Jay and I looked at that area just down from your land on down Cofelt. That requires I think Thea told me to say it requires a lift station, and they're expensive on the other side of the hill to get it there. And then you've got Cofelt that probably, I don't know if it'll gravity feed, she knows a whole lot more about that, but you know, sewer's got to have a gravity or it's got to have a pump, and they're real expensive. But in the entire history, and I've been here like you all of our lives, I've never seen the city run sewer mains for a developer. The developer has to run that. And like I said, there's plenty of houses and businesses that are in the city limits of Jacksonville that are still on the septic. They're generally larger tract lands. They're not up against each other.
But there was benefits those people still got when sitting there. There's a couple of businesses, quite honestly, made come out better, had more money by coming in the city because of the water rate reduction, the fire insurance rating reduction. There's a couple of things like that. And now, rather than wait, y'all said 15 minutes to get a sheriff out there. That's pretty quick. He has to be pretty close. It could be up to an hour. Where now they got regular police patrol going on, and so there's a lot of benefits they got. So I just don't want us to leave here and think that they got the shaft. They didn't get. Nobody got the shaft. They're part of this city, and we give them all the services that any other citizen other than the sewer deal.
Okay, thank you. Anybody?
No question.
Council, y'all have anything to say about this issue before we move on? Okay.
I have one question.
Yes.
I've always heard, though, if we annex someone in, an area in, by law, after you have up to 5 years. After that, you have to provide this. Is that not true, Stephanie?
Is that the current law that we passed?
At the time, it was it was fire and police protection. I know it has changed since then, but I believe when this was annexed in, that wasn't the law.
But it might be now, depending on what the land is and all that today, because sometime 15, we passed a law that did give that 5 years if you annexed them in to do that. But when I was working with Greg Heslop, he couldn't get Sherwood to bring him sewer and water into Notting Hill. It's when we did the land swap. We could provide sewer and water to him, but Sherwood couldn't. So that's why those land swaps, so he could build his subdivision on General State Road there.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any announcements?
Well, I have a question
yeah.
for Kevin House, please, before we go to the announcements.
That's fine.
Kevin, could you tell us where we're at on the fountain, please? The update on that.
Yes, ma'am. I actually brought it with me tonight in case I was asked.
Thank you.
As I told you guys at the last meeting or meeting before, I'd reached out to a couple contractors. One of those is telling me he is not interested in the job. He would do it, but he does not want to give a warranty. Well, we're not. No. I don't want to, that's just not good business. I've got one quote now, and we've not proceeded. I'd actually just received it this week for $129,608. That's equipment and fixing the fountain. It's the structure of the fountain, I guess you could say, with a warranty. I've used these guys in the past. They would do a good job. We've just now that I know where we're at and that it can be done, we'll need to go out to bid.
Okay.
And these guys will be interested in bidding. I'll get with Cheryl and just we'll go through the process and go out to bid.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Kevin, could you also get a bid on how much it would cost to put plants around it instead of doing
And I actually put that in Parks budget this year in our landscaping budget to remove the rocks and do some new plants around there. If we're going to get the fountain redone, we need to dress the whole area.
No, I'm talking about in the fountain, because it seems to me like this is a money pit with the fountain. Because every year it's going to freeze over, then you got to spend money to get it thawed out, then you got to come back every year and you're spending thousands of dollars versus how much it would cost to put a nice plant in there or something.
And I don't mind doing that. Yeah, it won't take long. I can run some numbers on that yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I think that'll be a discussion for another day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can, Barbara, I can get some numbers on that as well.
No. Other cities have fountains and they don't have the problem that you just mentioned, so,
We seem to be having more with all.
well, that's why we want to fix it.
This will be a fix to a lot of those problems where it runs year round instead of having to shut down. This fixes hits
Right.
every bullet point that where we've had issues.
When
in
it's
the
done
past.
right, it's going to be done right.
Right.
And therefore, it won't have all those issues that you're talking about.
Mayor,
Yes.
I want to say I definitely disagree with turning that amazing fountain that's in the middle of our city into a planter.
I think that's kind of been decided, so, all right, thank you.
And was that all you had for me?
That's all I have for you.
Thank you.
Cheryl, I have something for you too. Hush it, just hush it. Just, the money, could you explain to the others what I asked you about with the $300,000 that we had agreed? Some of that was going to go to fix our fountain. The rest of it, can you tell the council about that?
Okay, what I'm showing on the ARP funds, I'm showing that we have roughly about $235,052 still left that has not been allocated yet. And that's as long as nothing else comes in over budget. The police cars did come in over than what we were expecting.
Right.
And of course, we don't know about the pump track or any of the playground stuff that is going to be done. So I don't know if that's going to go over or not. But so far, we've got $235,000 that hasn't been allocated. And out of that, there was talk about the splash pad, and then also the fountain. But nothing has really been approved by city council
The
yet.
splash pad has been
And so-
X'd out.
Okay, and but
Kevin?
nothing has been formally approved or allocated for that remainder 235,000. And
Thank you.
so Kevin's getting the information for the fountain, but that project hasn't been approved by city council yet either.
Okay.
So,
I just needed you to explain that to the others. And
Right.
I know in the paper, you had said, Bob, that a splash pad by the new fire station, but it was a misprint.
Right, it's something that CBG was gonna do at, Galloway Park at one time, and maybe but it could be done at, the Fireman's Park when the new fire station's built and the old one's taken down. There'd be some room there. Maybe that'd be a better place for it than Galloway Park. Don't know. No decision's been made. It'd all be coming before you before we did. It'd have to come before the council or anybody did anything.
Okay. Well, a statement was said that it was going to be corrected in the paper, and it wasn't. So
Yeah,
I just
that's-
needed to be on record that that was a misprint.
Yeah, yes.
Did the CDBG buy that, the land for the fire station
They
before
have
they
not,
left?
and so we have, Cheryl's gonna take it out of the other funds because it never got approved. But,
So she's gonna take out a what fund? And
capital
the city-
improvement funds.
Mr. Mayor, I got a question on that.
Yes, sir.
So on the fountain, what was that amount?
127 or something.
How much? $127,000? Oh, okay.
129,608.
I was just,
Trying to wrap my head around that.
It's our responsibility to fix that fountain.
That's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money. Not near as much as the splash pad that on Main Street was going to cost, though. So.
It's still a big maintenance factor every year.
Okay, all right, okay, that's enough. That's like, okay, we don't, okay, okay, council.
Mayor. Oh, you slammed saying aye, sorry.
No, okay, so, all right, any announcements?
That wasn't necessary, though. It was done.
Well, there was just a lot of discussion on both sides, okay? Now, look, let's get on with business. Do we have any announcements?
I have an announcement.
Okay, about something in the city or personal?
Personal.
Okay, I'm gonna let Councilmember Smith speak if she wish. She's seniority, so Councilmember Smith, do you have anything to say at your last meeting or not? It doesn't matter.
I'd just like to thank the citizens of Jacksonville for allowing me to serve over the last 8 years.
Okay, and we appreciate your service. Thank you.
Congratulations
Councilmember.
on graduating yours.
Yes.
Yes, congrats.
Our newest RN. Councilmember Blevins here.
I just want to say that these last 2 years for me were probably a little different than they were for other council members. First of all, like I was never welcomed on the city council publicly, which I thought was kind of weird. But I was very public online before I got involved with the city. Very involved with the community and what was going on in the city leading up to me running because, online people are like, you run your mouth online all the time. Like, why don't you actually do something? And, that gets said a lot, but I actually did something. I actually ran and I was lucky enough to get voted in. I think a lot of people were thinking that I was just going to come in here and bash Councilmember Smith every single week that we had the city council meeting. That's been something that was even said to me by multiple people that they thought that was going to happen, but it wasn't going to happen. But, I ran because I saw that there was change that needed to happen in the city. And the only group in the city that can make change is this council. Like I keep hearing that the mayor has a vote. The mayor only has a vote if there's a tie. Like, this council is the one that actually makes things happen. And, I was very, very hard on Councilmember Smith from outside looking in. And having been through probably a worse amount of things that she's went through, I get it. I get it now. I understand why you had to do what you had to do to try to get things to happen. And that sucks. But luckily we have someone new coming in that is really going to push for change. But this is the guy that's in charge. The change still needs to happen with this council. There are things that need to happen to make this city better that it seems that this council just wants to ignore. And the time to ignore it is, like, we're almost to the point of no return. Like, we're still hemorrhaging businesses. We're still losing people from this city. Like, it's something that needs to be addressed. You know, I'm not trying to be negative. It's a fact. If the fact is negative, then guess what? I mean, I'm sorry. Like, if you've been around and looked at this city, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, in the last 8 years, I haven't seen it get better. I mean, if someone else has, like, please, by all means, like, let me know. Because maybe I have rose-colored glasses to things being better. You know, I fought for pay raises, including part-time pay raises, you know, before it was cool, I guess. You know, I fought for pit bulls and chickens and got laughed at when people just wanted them. You know, when they wanted them, you know, just to be able to survive or be able to have pets, like, and instead of letting the people vote on it, people use their own personal decisions to say, hey, look, we're not going to do it. Again, it's just something that happened. I pushed for lights down Main Street. I guess that got shut down because if you did get lights down Main Street, you'd be able to see how the city really looks. I'm just tired of the apathy of this city council on some of the things for change. There's some great people that are on here, but there's some other people that have lost track of their oath that they gave to protect this city and make this city better. I know I chose to give up this council seat position to run for change. I'm happy with my decision. I don't regret it at all. I think we have a great guy that's coming in here that will hopefully push it. But after December 31st, like, I'm done. I don't get to be the voice for the voiceless. I don't get to be someone to represent all the numerous people that call me on a daily basis and ask me to contact every one of these directors, which they know that I contact them because I get something done every single time somebody calls me. You know, I don't get to represent the needs of this city, but, you know, the thing that makes me sad is that when I'm gone, there will still be people on this council that will have that ability to make change and will refuse to use it. Like, Jacksonville deserves to be better than it is now. And I just thank you for allowing me to have the option to attempt to make things better, no matter how many times I get shut down or get basically you know, just wrecked here in the city, and then get to go home and see it online from somebody's wife's best friends. So I just want to thank everybody and tell you that I hope the change really is a-coming, because we definitely need it. And thank you. And sorry, Councilmember Smith, for not seeing, you know, for not seeing what happened.
I have one comment to make too, before we go. My comment is thanking you, Mr. Mayor, for the new hospital coming to town. I know how hard you worked for it. We didn't have a good hospital for a long time. I know they're a little late opening because of supply chain issues.
Yes, it is.
But you got that done, and thank you.
Okay. And I want to say thank you, Citizen Jacksonville, let me serve as your mayor. But I'm not going to go away. I'm going to do all I can to help Mayor-elect Elmore, help you, help the city, and despite what some people think, we have more subdivisions we've ever had. So we are growing, but it's been truly my pleasure to be here. The hard work just comes with it, and thank you. Councilmember Raines.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you for the past 2 years, the welcome that we both got when we entered into this office 2 years ago. And I also had a question. So I noticed that the CDBG position has been taken off of our website. Is that a positive thing that we can talk about?
Yeah, we are fixing to start interviews.
Start interviewing on Wednesday. Fantastic. That is wonderful news to hear.
So
Yes.
hopefully we'll have somebody before it start of the new year.
Great.
That's our goal. Okay.
Good deal.
Thank
Well,
you.
at that point, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Okay. Now, okay, Councilmember Bowden.
Mayor, I want to thank you for the time you served us, and it was an honor to be your vice mayor.
Yes, you
Stay
served me well.
focused, stay
Thank you.
motivated, and the ship
Oh,
is
yeah.
sailing, but we're going to do a good job.
We are.
Stay motivated.
And I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, and don't forget the reason for the season.
Hey.
All right. Okay, now I got that motion. Everybody agree? Second. All right, we're ready to adjourn. Councilmember Blevins, Councilmember Smith, thank you for your service.